So today I wanted to talk about the species Coptodon kottae, which is a really amazing species from Cameroon, specifically two very small crater lakes. And because their geographic range is so limited, they are very endangered. These fish are very hard to find, and because of the current civil war in Cameroon, they can no longer be exported out of the country. Now, starting off, these fish are going to be very hard to find. You likely will not see them at local stores, and I got mine from an auction. However, if you do get a hold of these fish, they are absolutely worth it. These are really easy to breed, really easy to take care of, really beautiful, just absolutely super fun fish to have, and I absolutely recommend them. Now, there is a disclaimer when buying these fish. The colors that you're seeing here are their breeding colors. As you probably saw in my last video if you even watched it, the regular Coptodon kottae outside of breeding colors are they're gray, they're pretty drab. They're still wonderful fish. I really love my non-breeding one, but yeah, they are not very pretty still. So these are their breeding colors, absolutely gorgeous, just black, blue, yellow. It's really amazing, but you're only going to see that in breeding. Now, for the basic care of these fish, it's nothing too difficult. The most close thing I would compare them to is a crebensis, actually. Just think of a larger crebensis, I guess, since they come from pretty similar regions and all. Pretty medium pH, mine are just fine in like 7.5, and they're breeding a lot. They're very happy. And for temperature, I'd say just typical tropical fish temperatures of 72 to 82 degrees. I wouldn't go above 80 personally, but it would probably be fine. They're very hardy fish. They're very easy to take care of, and overall they're really sweet. Things do get a little controversial though when you start talking about tank size, because as you might be able to see here, I am keeping this pair in a 20-gallon long. If you are growing these fish up to pair off, do not keep them in this size. I'd put them in like probably a 4-foot tank, like a 55-gallon. Once you do have a pair, you can pretty easily breed them in a 20 long like this, but I'd say try and go for a 30 or something, but 30-inch tank should work. Do not put them in anything shorter than 30 inches long. And as I said, outside of when they're paired off and breeding, you want to keep them in much larger tanks. These are big fish. As you can see, the male is about 6 inches long. The female is around 3 or 4. They're pretty large. Now for decorations and such, and tank setup, I recommend having hiding spots and a soft substrate. Start with the hiding spots. They really do like to hide, especially if you want to breed them. You want to have a cave, and they are just really interactive with their environment overall. And that's where the soft substrate comes in, because these fish like to dig, especially when breeding. As you can see, I do not have a very soft substrate in here. This was supposed to be a quarantine tank, but they ended up just breeding in here anyways. But they like lots of substrate, and they like it very soft. They pretty much dug up this whole tank and made a whole giant pit in here, and it's not even that soft of a substrate. So if you gave them just like a fine sand or whatever, they would really go all out on it. They would absolutely love it, and they'd probably make a lot more babies more frequently. I don't know. But overall, soft substrate, lots of hiding places, and for one final note, they do like to have some sort of feeling of cover. I have some stuff on top of the tank that they like, and once they feel that cover, they feel a lot more comfortable in the tank. They're a lot more colored up. They're just a lot more comfortable. Now let's get into my favorite aspect of these fish, which is the breeding. And if you get these fish, you absolutely need to breed them. Do not get these fish if you don't intend to breed them. Not just because of the colors, but because these are a care species. They are very endangered in the wild. I'd argue that they're critically endangered, and we absolutely need to breed these in captivity to keep them alive overall. But please breed these. You'll get such a better experience out of the fish, and they're very easy to breed. Like, anyone could breed these. I'm not a particularly great breeder, but I knew I would be able to breed these. If you're familiar with breeding tilapia, you might be able to breed these, because these fish are a type of dwarf tilapia. But as I said before, they really like to have the soft substrate to dig up. They like to dig out an area to lay eggs, and they like to have some sort of cave to lay eggs in. Both of my pairs have laid their eggs in caves, and they will fiercely guard it. And one of my pairs laid them in a pleco cave, and the other laid it in a little coconut cave, both of which you'll probably see in this video. Unlike a lot of fish, these fish will fiercely guard their fry. They are very, very protective of them, more than any other fish I've seen, online or in person. These fish are incredibly protective. Mine have guarded their fry for months, and they seem to get more protective as they get bigger, so eventually I've just removed the fry and grown them out in a separate tank, which I'll show you in a second here. But yeah, these fish, very, very protective. They're very, very good parents. I do not know if they do that with their first spawns. I have not had that. I do not have any experience with that, as I bought these as pairs. But they're very easy to breed. Anyone could do it, and you absolutely should breed them. Alright, well, that is going to be it. I hope I covered a lot of stuff. I hope I could have helped some people out there who have found these fish and just don't know what to do with them, because these are really, really great fish. And I think more people should keep them and breed them and everything. But there's not a lot of information about them online, which makes them intimidating to some people. But don't get me wrong, these are very easy fish to keep. You're not going to find them wild caught anymore, really, since they cannot be taken out of Cameroon, which I think is a good thing, even though it's not for good reasons. But absolutely get these fish if you can. Absolutely just breed them to hell. They need it. I hope this helped anyone out there trying to keep these. If you like the video, subscribe, and goodbye.